Hello and welcome to Star Trek Infinite. I'm Shadow Coast and welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to outline and provide several key tips to help you with your Romulan Star Empire campaign. Having played all four factions, I believe Romulans are the most difficult faction overall given a few things. First, you have your mission storyline where you're contending with losing a key planet, which is challenging. Second, you already start off at odds with the other factions given actions you've taken. And third, the way that your fleets operate is a little bit different compared to the other factions, which means that you tend to have fewer ships, albeit more powerful ships, which is very difficult during wartime. So let's jump in. This is not going to be a playthrough. I'm really just going to outline key things and show you a few items to help you get started. So we're going to try to keep this video short. Let's jump in. First, we have to understand how the Romulan Empire plays. If we take a look at some of the different items here, this will be really helpful in understanding. We have Delegator, which helps with governors. We have Quiet Servant with monthly unity. Cunning and innovation. So this is really critical. Instead of relying on deuterium, Romulan ships are powered by artificial singularities. Now, this is artificial singularities can be generated from buildings. So one of the key things you're going to want to keep track of as you expand your fleets and your empire is making sure that you're managing your artificial singularities so you can support larger fleets, especially during wartime. Also, you gain numerous espionage bonuses that influence the fate of the galaxy from the shadows. Closet politics, additional edicts, and monthly influence. That influence is helpful, especially as expanding. State of vigilance, pop chance of appearing aligned with the Empire principle plus 15%. So this is helpful as we expand our empire, keeping our pops aligned, our populations aligned to us. State Senate, every 20 years we elect a new leader. Colony development speed plus 25%. And you can read this down here. So in general, we're going to want to prioritize using not only our governors to supercharge our planets, but also our spies to gain intel and steal from others. So we're going to just start a temporary campaign here to outline a few things that I recommend you do when you start off your Romulan campaign. So if we take a look at the galactic map here, like all factions, you basically are boarding two other major powers. So Cardassia and the Klingon Empire, albeit you are also very close to the Federation. So from that perspective, we are kind of the worst situated on the map, where the Klingon Empire only has to contend with two, and the Cardassians really only has to directly contend with two, right? So similar to the Federation being close to all three. From there, if we take a look at contacts, you can see here we're negative 40 across the board, and this is given our actions on Kittimir, which the game will explain to you. So one of the first things you're going to want to do is obviously start building out your economy. Take your construction ship, start building up. I recommend you balance your energy, minerals, and alloys. So make sure that you do all that. So we're just going to go ahead for purposes here, building mining stations, for example, purposes. The other thing to note here is that every time you start a new campaign, planet features are randomized. While we always have the same planets, what the planets have will differentiate. So depending on how much you like to micro manage or not, I always throw on different things based off where things are. So for example, here, agrarian world, we're already building agriculture. We're going to throw that on here. Here we're focused on energy districts, although we've capped out. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and put this. We're going to switch this over to an agrarian world because there's nowhere more ability to expand energy, so that doesn't make any sense. And then here, we're going to switch this to. We're going to keep this as an agrarian world because we're already committed here. So why do we do this? Well, we are going to research buildings that will augment productions of different districts. So you really do want to focus your planets to the best of your ability, as long as you're not planning on losing those planets or having them subjugated by enemies. Specializing is actually much better because then you can build buildings that augment different things like energy production, agriculture production, mining, etc. So do all that stuff, start building your economy, send your ships out to survey, make sure you have your governorship, going to a planet, augmenting production. So we're just going to do worker production there. So once you get that all set up, make sure that you don't forget to start your research here. One thing to note here, you're going to see sometimes these things are green, meaning that the researcher is aligned to what you're trying to research. So sometimes it's good to move people around so you can augment what they're researching. Example, computing. Um, we don't have anyone that does computing, statecraft, military theory, industry. So this guy's engineering. So I could do replicator halls here, and we're gonna switch out Rhiannon here. So let's do this, right? And then we're gonna do this. Oh wait, he's engineering. This is industry. Oh no, that still works. It still works. I don't know why they have industry and engineering. I think it's the same thing. You see that plus 17, that bonus critical. So just keep that in mind. Get all your technology set up. All right. So once you do all that fun stuff, right? Let's talk about the plan. Well, right now we don't have any envoys. So if we actually start time, a little time will go by, and then all of a sudden we have envoys. The first thing we're going to want to do is try to blunt the aggression from the Klingon Empire by sending an envoy over there. And our goal is to prevent them from getting so pissed off about us taking Kittamir that they don't attack us, because there's very little we can do to repel them, at least in the first, call it 5 to 10 years here. The next thing I would do, and this is up to you, I normally try to make nice with the Federation. You could make nice with Cardassia. However, more often than not, we're going to have something like this pop up where the Klingons and the Federation support Bajor, which are going to piss off Cardassia. So we don't want to be too aligned with them for political reasons. All right, so that's kind of the first thing I recommend doing. After you get your economy built up and you start doing that, make sure you use your envoys. Okay, a few other things to think about here. Um, are thinking about balancing our military, right? So one of the things that we have here is artificial singularities. This allows us to power ships. If you go to your home planet here, the protostar collapser gives artificial singularity storage capacity. So and it also produces artificial singularities. So keep this in mind, monthly gain and consumed, that as we look to other planets or our home planet, we're going to want to build the, well, I guess we can only build one per planet. So keep that in mind, that you're going to want to be building protostar collapsers to help support larger military. The other thing to keep in mind is you are going to want to expand your alloy production while balancing your economy to as quickly as possible. So effectively what that means is we're going to want to build forges, um, 1, 2 early game, draw base production 7. So we're going to go ahead and drop this in as early as possible. So, you know, I do recommend here that uh, you produce 2 or 3 forges, balance out your mineral production. So depending on your start, you may or may not be able to do that. Here we have a few mines where we can harvest minerals, which is effective. From there, our strategy is really to keep the Klingons at bay as we build up our military might. I do recommend, once you have the resources on Kittamir, immediately upgrading Kittamir's station. So if we go to the planet here, I don't know why that's not opening up. If you left click here, we can upgrade this once we have 200 alloys. So I do recommend upgrading this, and then I always build defensive structures. So if we come over to our starbase here, I don't think we can see. Yeah, you can build versatile defensive systems and large defense systems. I recommend building both of these. And then over here, I always build a sensor interference generator just to reduce the speed of enemies. And the reason that we're doing that is as enemies attack, we want to kind of trap them on Kittamir and then send smaller fleets out to try to cap different planets to cause attrition. So let's take a step back and recap a few things here. When you start your Romulan campaign, obviously you're going to want to focus on your core resource production and expansion through assigning different worlds, different designations to make sure you're really balancing. I haven't done a good job here. These are all agrarian. You really want to balance out credits, minerals, food production, which is really critical. From there, you're going to want to deploy your envoys immediately, focusing on the Klingon Empire for sure, and I recommend the Federation. As you kind of expand and gain resources, make sure you're balancing upgrading your fleet. You can do that fairly easily early game, but later on, you're going to want to make sure that you are building protostar collapsers to make sure you can support larger and more numerous fleets. And from there, expand with your science ship, explore, use your governors. I would end up adding a governor or two to help you. Finally, let's take a look at traditions here. You can go really any way you want, but I always recommend, in general, going with your faction-specific traditions, depending on what you're doing. If you do anticipate a war early on, I'd get personal. See, after you adopt the secrecy, personal secrecy, and then outwitting the enemy. Long term, you're definitely going to want labyrinths, and I also really like um, puppeteers and long game. So this is going to be critical to kind of our expansion, which is helpful. So successful spy mission steal pops. This is hugely helpful as we expand on planets, and we need more pops to put to work. And then long game, research speed, counter espionage speed. So this is absolutely critical. Now, if you're able to blunt the Klingons from attacking, I recommend getting this just so you have that research speed a little earlier from that perspective. Then, as we expand and gain access to spies, make sure you're deploying spies. I always pick up an extra one once they become available, and I will be mostly focusing on Cardassia because I don't want to get caught and piss either the Federation or the Klingon Empire off. So there, I'll be trying to steal technology, siphon resources, gain intel, all that fun stuff outside of the areas I'm trying to build up. So that is my kind of recommendation for the Romulan Star Empire and how to play. If you did go on and find this helpful, drop a thumbs up. And of course, if I missed anything obvious or maybe not so obvious, please drop a comment to help others. That's the purpose of this video, is to help you with your Romulan Star Empire playthrough. Thanks for watching and hope to see you in future videos. Shadow Coast out.